What's up, everybody? Jose Ortiz here with PetRockMedia.com, and today you're tuning in to another episode of the Marvelous 13 podcast. Today, episode 3 is on the topic of burnout. What is burnout? How do you know if you're going through burnout? And more importantly, how can you overcome burnout so that way you don't feel like you're creating things just to create and you're no longer having fun? We'll tackle that topic here in a moment. So today, guys, like I mentioned, what we're going to talk about is burnout. More importantly, this episode is going to be relating to creativity. However, these techniques can be pretty much applied to all aspects of burnout. So now that that's out of the way, let's move on. So the pressures of social media and what that can do. Feeling pressured by social media and always feeling like you have to be on there can lead you down a direct path of complete and total burnout. Especially if you tend to read the comments that are posted to your content. Reading comments can directly lead to you no longer feeling the passion for creating. Take it from somebody who's done it myself. Every time I post something, I'm always interested in what my followers have to say about the content, and every now and then you'll get that one negative Nancy, no offense to anybody named Nancy, you'll get that one negative individual that just has it out for you, just wants to say mean things, say horrible things, say negative things. And it's that one comment that will keep you away from the 10s or 20s or 30 other comments that are completely praising what you're doing and are really excited for your content. But it just takes that one negative comment to completely lead you down the road of burnout. Perhaps you feel the need to focus your talents elsewhere. However, you don't know if your following will accept the change of direction that you plan on embarking. So that pressure can then lead you directly to feel like you're burning out and you're no longer wanting to create content. A lot of times as creators, specifically if you're in the video creation, if you're on Vimeo, YouTube, and so forth, you feel pressure to keep your channel the exact same way. So you're always pressured to find a niche and stick with it. So if you're a gaming channel and you've been doing gaming reviews for the past 2 or 3 months, maybe even a year, you've built up a following, but you know what? Now I want to do movie reviews. And then you feel like people who came to see you just for video games are now going to feel like you're no longer catering to them. So that's something that you want to think about, and that's something that can directly lead to burnout, because it is something that you want to keep in mind with your following. You know, you want to maybe throw it out there, maybe say, hey, I'm doing something different, throw out a movie review, see how it goes, see if it sticks. If it does, then you might have something there, and then just let your community know, hey, is this something that you're interested in doing? Don't just bring it up on them, because again, put yourself in their shoes. There's people that we follow and we would like to be at least kind of notified in some way, not directly, asked if we're okay with it, but just let us know, hey, this is something that I might be doing, so that way we expect that down the road and it's not just blindsiding us. You want to think about that, especially if you're thinking about changing the direction of your channel and the direction of your content. Fastcompany.com posted an article middle of 2018 which I feel is great at tackling this issue. The writer states, burnout can strike at unexpected moments, regardless of whether you're your own boss or work with a team. We're living in an era where around-the-clock communication is simply a fact of life, and the always-on culture of many workplaces can take an outside toll on creatives who need to have mental and physical energy to do their best work, end quote. That quote right there, to me, resonated the most, because you do feel, since we are in a constant communication world, you constantly have to be responding to comments. You get a comment, you need to respond within the next minute or so, because if not, then now you left a negative taste in their mouth, and now they're going to spread negativity about you. You don't respond to comments, you don't care about your following, so on and so forth. That round-the-clock feeling of communication is where social media creeps into. That's where social media starts to weigh on you, because you feel you constantly have to be on every single platform. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, you name it. You feel like you always have to be there. Twitch, things like that. That feeling of always having to respond to comments and make posts and so forth is what can directly lead to burnout. That same article goes on to show ways that you can decrease your chance of burnout. And they got a cool top 10 list, and I myself love a list. So let's go ahead and go through these real quick. So number 1, Plan slowdowns in your yearly calendar. So as you're planning things out, make sure you give yourself some time to just take a little bit of slowdown. Is there time where you feel like you can create maybe less items for your channel, or less art pieces, or less gigs if you're a photographer, videographer, things like that? Is there a slow peak? When I used to shoot weddings, there was slow time. Usually in the winter, not a lot of people get married. It's cold, it's wet, freezing, things like that. The weather's not beautiful. It's mostly really gloomy and gray. Not a lot of people want to get married around that time, which is why a lot of times photographers will drop their prices. And I did that myself. So is there a downtime where you can identify things like that in your particular realm and kind of plan that out? Make a month of, I'm only going to do 2 or 3 things this month. That way your channel or your clients become accustomed to that, and they don't freak out when they're saying, well, wow, you're not really doing anything this month. You kind of already planned it out. Another great one is treat your work, because that's exactly what it is. Treat it like an everyday 9-to-5 job, even if it's not. We all know content creation does not have a 9-to-5 aspect to it. We constantly create day in, day out, doesn't matter the hour of the day. But if you treat your job like a 9-to-5, then at a certain time, you're done, you're walking away, you're going to go have dinner, you're going to take a mental break, have a cup of coffee, read a book. You're going to plan something around that time off, and you're going to be excited because you already created your work day around that mentality. So that's something to keep in mind. Find a totally unrelated creative outlet. Now, I know that's hard for a lot of us creators because a lot of our hobbies revolve around what we're creating about. So it revolves around photography. If we're on YouTube, then we tend to shoot videos for fun. And so it's kind of something that's directly related, but think of something that's unrelated to it. So if you're a photographer, consider drawing. Maybe picking up drawing. It's still a creative outlet, but it's not something directly related to photography, or something completely unrelated to media. So if you're used to creating videos, if you're a photographer, if you're a videographer, if you're a drawer, anything like that, do something different. Take a road trip and completely disconnect. Of course, have your phone with you in case of emergencies, and maybe take one little minimal, kit with you. But other than that, just completely disconnect and do something that's going to make you feel better, make you happy, and not necessarily always tie you to your channel or to your job. Number 4, completely just take a day off. You wake up in the morning, and if you don't have anything that's pressing, you don't have any type of client that absolutely needs their work, you don't have a promotion or something that you're working with, a sponsor, and you don't have a super, super hard deadline, take a day off. Just decide, today I'm just going to take a day off, relax. I'll hit it up again tomorrow. Work in spurts and keep a rhythm. So don't work constantly for hours and hours and hours on end. Do things in pieces. Break your project down and say, for the next hour, I'm going to work on channel art. Then take a break. Then for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to work on a script because I'm going to work on a new video. And keep things going like that. Keep things a little spicy, if you will, and just work in little moments throughout the day. And those little moments tend to have the best creative minds and creative spurts when you do things in little pockets like that. Number 6, which is a big one, practice saying the word no. You do not always have to take every single gig that presents itself. If you work with others, which we all have people who we work with that are in the same mindset, same arena, networking, things like that. Let them know of a potential gig and help somebody out. Maybe somebody doesn't have a gig, and you've got 6 of them. You don't need to tackle that 7th. Pass it on to somebody. Good karma. You'll get that back down the road. Trust me. Number 7, don't treat your work like something you need to escape from. Okay, that's a big one. Number 8, work on multiple things at once. Kind of keeps things spicy, as I mentioned. Number 9, be honest about when you need a break, and then really give yourself a break. If you feel that burnout coming, if you feel like you just can't get things done, or I'll give you an example. Let's say you're working on a video and 2 hours have passed and you cannot even remember what you were doing. You just kind of feel like a robot. That is a good indicator that you need to take a break. You need to realize that you are about to burn out. Realize it, give yourself a break, and then take advantage of it. When you break, you need to break. Do not feel like you have to go back to it. Give yourself some time, completely decompress, go for a walk, go for a bike ride, do some physical activity, read a book, do something, but do not take a break from content creation and then go watch a video about somebody content creating. Because all that's going to do is just make you feel like you're falling behind, and you're going to be right back where you started. And number 10, and to me, I think this is a huge, huge one, and a lot of individuals need to really, really think about this one long and hard. And that's be true to yourself. You know, if you're doing something that you absolutely love and you absolutely cannot wait to do the next thing, then by all means, take advantage of that feeling and run with it and stick with it. Still give yourself the breaks, still give yourself the time off. But if it's something that you absolutely are passionate about, then you'll never really work a day in your life, like the old cliche. If you do what you love, you're not really working. You're doing something that you feel is amazing and you find fun, and you're not really working. You're just having fun. On a personal note, for me, I took a break from YouTube roughly about a year ago this time. It was about March. I still release some videos every now and then, but I took a pretty big vacation with my family. We went up to Colorado, and there's some videos on the channel that you can see us kind of vlogging that whole trip. But when I came back, I just felt kind of burnt out. So I took a break. Things happened in my life I had to take care of and things like that with my family. Kind of had to prioritize some things. And now doing YouTube and just creating this podcast is just another way of just kind of, you know, having fun. It doesn't feel like a job. I don't feel like I have to do a video every week. Back then I felt like I had to do 1 or 2 videos a week in order to stay relevant. I'm going live a little bit more, which is awesome. It's helping my watch time and things like that, meeting new people, which is amazing. But it's now turned back into what it should have been all along, and that's just having fun. There's no strings attached to me needing to always having to create. My followers are still there. I never went below 1,000, which is amazing. I can't believe people actually stuck around, which is awesome. So if you've made it this far to the end of the podcast, write the word peanut. That just came into my mind. Write the word peanut in the comments. That way I know you made it to the end of this podcast. But I'm thankful for each and every one of you who stuck around and are still supporting the channel and still supporting this content. And I just needed a break. And so now I feel refreshed, I feel renewed, and there's some new things that I want to work on. There's some new ideas that I'm working with. Some friends of mine and my wife and I were working on some things. So it's just something that we're going to do. It's no longer going to feel like a job, like one of the things I said. It's just having fun and just sharing our content with the world, sharing our ideas with the world, sharing our experiences with everybody who wants to experience those things with us. So just some food for thought, guys. Again, this episode was just talking about burnout. Just wanted to kind of let you guys know some tips and tricks on how to avoid it, how I personally try to avoid it, and me personally actually going through with it, and kind of what I did to kind of overcome it. So leave some ideas down below on how you think you can deal with burnout, and if you've personally experienced it, how have you dealt with it? What did you do? How did you get better? And what did you do once you started feeling like you can create again? What did you do? What was the first project that you worked on? But that about wraps up this episode, guys. Just wanted to kind of get this out. This is something that I feel super passionate about. So leave your comments down below. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. This podcast is something that I'm really, really, really going to try to improve and move forward, and potentially possibly start recording the video and kind of post it that way versus just audio only. But for now, I just want to do audio only. But let me know in the comments what you think about this episode. Give me a thumbs up, share it, tweet it. You know what to do. Once again, guys, this is Jose Ortiz from PetRockMedia with episode 3 of the Marvelous 13 podcast. Signing out. Peace.